Yo, Tarzani Bokoko na Bomkulu. It feels like a long time. When did I last come in? I think I last came in on Wednesday. Yes, I last came in on Wednesday. But I did indicate that Nginomgidi. So I won't be able to come in on Thursday on YouTube because I was preparing for Umgidi. Even today I've been sitting contemplating of like, oh, do I have energy to hold space? Do I have energy to teach? Do I have energy to give of myself? I'm recovering from umgiti and I'm asking, oh, do I have energy? Let's see. Sometimes the tribe does give me some vavavoom, gives me some energy, and I said, okay, maybe let's do a Q&A. Maybe ask questions, and maybe I don't do videos because that also takes a lot of energy where people can just ask me questions that are closely related. Hey, Mrs. Msomi Togoza Jablile. We always see you, Gabi. You're always here. Melanin Sino, I also see you. I see some regulars. I haven't posted about celebrating 100K because then somebody says to me, Gogo, why don't we do like 10 lunches across the cities because you travel? Like lunch with people in Durban, lunch with people in Cape Town. I'm like, yay, when? I don't know if I do have the strength or the energy to do that, Yeah. So come on, Kabelo says I'm glowing. Hey, but I'm tired, eh? I had umsebenzi this weekend. Ngiti takes a lot to be in that space and hold things. It's a lot. Togozani, you see the tribe. Mebangen, but Togoza tribe. Let me see. Okay, there's no okay. Questions can be asked. So we're just doing a Q&A. Yes, please, Devan. I'm not sure yet, Jablile, if I can do like all, because if I do Durban, then Cape Town will want one, then Bloemfontein will want one, then Northwest will want one, then because the tribe is so vast. I mean, we used to be family and we grew into a tribe. The next thing we're gonna grow into a clan. The next thing we go into a whole society. So we're growing, fam. We're growing. We're growing. So I'm doing a Q&A. So if you are you Mkiti's private one? No, normally Mkitis are, they, unless if you're going and I'm in, it's complex. It's not as straightforward, 1, 2, 3. It's not a thing where I can say, hey, Instagram tribe, come to Mkiti. Hey, I won't have space to hold space for everyone. Yeah, I won't have space to hold everyone. It's normally with family members of the people who I'm doing kitties for. It's for people who have worked with us in the institute, and of course the community that, if it's a homecoming, the community comes. You cannot not invite them. You cannot not invite the community. You see, and then Botswana will want one. Then UK, we have a big tribe in the UK. We've got a big tribe in the US as well. They'll say, oh, Coco, come and have lunch. I don't know if I can host space. I think for now, I said to her, because she's going to help me pull together the lunch, and we're busy describing the criteria of the, 100K lunch, intimate lunch, or what did we call exclusive lunch with Coco Dineo. And I said, well, one, people have to get themselves to Joburg. One, you have to pay for your own lunch. And it's about a 2 to 4 hour lunch with me. And people will get free readings as well, because I'm not going to bring bones, but I'll bring angel cuts. And I also do palmistry, which are the things that I started consultation with before I even trained to be a healer. Okay, I'm doing a Q&A. Gogo, I just love you so much. Stay blessed. Ngiyabonga Masego, ngiyabonga Ndlovu. I'm okay. Gogo, I want to know when I'm drinking, I will stop in the middle and drink tea. I don't know what the question is here, beloved. I do not know what the question is. Okay, so we're doing yes. Oh, and the other requirement will be with you have to have quoted me at least 5 times and tagged me to know that, because it's for tribe members, to know that you have been a tribe member and you have been following. as a tribe member. So we're doing a Q&A for those who have come through. So kindly you can ask your questions. At the bottom, at the yes, then I'm gonna take your questions. They are starting to come in. Oh, okay. I'm interested in tarot cards and border deck. Is there an interest sometimes led by ancestors? Definitely. I became interested in cards. I don't use tarot because I don't know how to interpret tarot cards. I use angel cards. And I haven't connected it, and I started using tarot angel cards. They sometimes called tarot card, but they're different. Tarot is the ones that would have funny things. But angel cards, I only have one deck here. But they're normally called angel cards. But they, I started with Doreen Virtue's angel cards. And I used to, because I tried to um kind of do studies and things like that when it comes to even with palmistry, because that's how I started. Let me tell you a story. So when I was a performing artist, I used to work for Moyo Productions. Moyo Productions used to provide in-house entertainment for Moyo restaurants. Moyo used to be that, it became a very big restaurant in the early 2000s in Newtown, Melrose Arch, Cape Town. So I used to and Market Theatre. So I used to do all of them as a storyteller. So one day I show up at the table and people starts to ask me to throw bones, and they say, "Hey, Sangoma," and I wasn't even a Sangoma. I didn't even know I was, I was aware there was some calling. And I started to read people's hands, and then I bought cards because I was ancestrally led to doing readings. And I literally would be booked for corporate functions and be paid good money to do readings for people. People will exclusively book a table not to come listen to a storyteller, but to come listen to the oracle woman, the seer. Right. And when I stopped at Moyo, that's when the calling started knocking very hard. The calling knocked very hard. And I knew that it was time to go. I mean, I started at Moyo in 2003, and I think I left about 2007. I'm not sure. And I went into training. I can. Yeah, they're called by different names. Oracle cards, angel cards, but let me show you a deck I have. I've used them before. There was a time I did readings, free readings for people. Yeah. So this is one of my favorite. Kyle Gray. Maybe one day I'll do my own deck of cards. So Kyle Gray. So normally they are like this. You'll flip and you'll get a message like this, like it would say the arrow. Surround yourself with protective energy, and then it will give you an explanation. So, but it has taken me time to learn how to do card readings. Even Nabokoko that I Twasisa, I teach them how to use cards, water, candles. So there's many modalities. These are diagnostic tools. These are diagnostic tools that I use. Water, drawings. I use many diagnostic tools for consultations and intuitive, etc., etc. Okay, the questions are here. Let's go to the. Okay. I do not. I'm not gonna answer dreams. Let me say that people don't write dreams. I don't do dreams like this. Dreams, I do them on. I do them on video request, yes, because then I need to ask questions and there's more context given over video than on a message. Talks Coco, what are the rituals that are performed when the deceased is cremated? I think I wouldn't know because cremation has not been what we have done as Africans. But what I also know as Africans is that we are innovative and we do evolve. And you would, like any other death ritual that is significant, is to help the body transition from its physical into the spiritual. So there should be rites of passages that are honored and acknowledged. And if the family is choosing it for certain reasons, it means you need to do a ritual that announces to the body that we are cremating the body for these reasons, but the spirit doesn't die, only the body dies, So I wouldn't know for sure if there's anything different that would need to be done when it's cremation versus when it's a normal body resting way. I would assume the most significant and important would to be inform the deceased about the reasons of cremation, especially if it's something that you have not done before. And it might also be very helpful to consult a spiritual healer who's open minded, of course, to look into would that be a problem when the body gets cremated, because some people might feel like you are completely, killing off their existence. I'm just saying, even with people, I've said when people do organ donations of a deceased, you need to be able to inform the deceased, even if the deceased made it a request. And I said to those who are recipients of that organ, because energy gets transferred through and through, is to phaahla for that particular organ, because lives are needed to be saved, is to say, and perform some sort of ritual of cleansing so that the person doesn't take the persona. Apparently, it's been proven that certain people after a blood transplant or organ donation, their characteristic changes. They become something else because they've taken on the energy of another entity, of another body. So cleansing is to purify, rejuvenate, and cleanse and get rid of energies and toxins that you're not supposed to be absorbing. So ritual for me, it's an act of helping transitioning from one element to the other. It's an act of acknowledgement. That's why it's so important, because sometimes it's not about this being right or wrong, is are we able to help things transition? Are we able to allow for us to move from point one to point two? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I hope I'm making sense. Tools in fix. I hope I answered your question. Remember, I'm not taking dreams. Josako, is it possible for one to start picking up habits of a lost loved one? I know that it's possible for people who have a name. They've been given a name of a deceased loved one, that they start to pick up characteristics or traits of that particular loved one. We believe that normally when there's a death in the family, you usually find out that somebody is also pregnant. So meaning that part of that person's spirit or energy never dies, it gets transferred to the new entity or the new being, or that new being becomes that entity. How accurate 100% that I'm pregnant already and you die and then I become you. But when somebody is given a name of somebody who's deceased, that's why you don't just take that name, you need to request for it. And by requesting for it, it's also important that you do speak life into that name. So if the person had particular traits that were toxic, you need to be able to draw on the traits that were strong for that individual whom is being given a name that gets passed on. So be very careful about passing names just like that. I remember with our firstborn, Usbusiso, I said to Babagas Busiso, can we name him after your dad? Because his dad is late. And he said, no, we can't. And he explained, he explained a lot. I've learned a lot from Spusiso's dad about Zulu culture, and I still learn a lot about Zulu culture because I'm not angiyena umZulu mina. Yabona, and besides angikhulanga phansi kwamasiko ngale ndlela ukuthi ngiyajula ngiganelwe la kunamasiko khona. And because of my interest in African spirituality and the studies that I've done have had me immense in tradition, but more on spirituality, because sometimes we can get caught up into what is tradition versus what is the intention, and how was that tradition supposed to be of service to the tribe community and the families that were passing or using or utilizing it. So for me, That's what it's important. It's about how does it serve, that's what I always, if we're practicing a cultural practice, how does it serve? And sometimes even with me, even in Bungoma culture, there'd be certain things and I'm like, how is this serving? I'm like, but it doesn't serve anything. And it might have served 3 years ago, it might have served last year, but is it serving us now? Because things are always changing and evolving, and we cannot be stagnant, because if we do, then we cease to exist. Princess, you're showing me a crying emoji. I don't know what I did or what I said. Um, Tawuza gogo, kwenziwa yini mangiphuza utshwala kuzovele ngiyeke or ngiphuze iti. Okay. Yeah, sometimes is when we all know that too much alcohol is toxic for our body, because it is alcohol after all, gogo. So mhlambe ke kukhona isimo sokuthi now uyalekelelwa ukuthi no, that's too much, that's enough. You need to neutralize your body. You need to give your body something else outside what you are consuming. So I take it as a good sign, so yeah. I'm so impressed with myself. Yazi mina ngifundanga isiZulu esikolweni, but I can read it very well, and ngifunde kahle la. Yeah, and I speak Zulu very well. I just don't know how to write it very well. Is ubungoma really a cure to healing from lifelong illnesses? I get this a lot when I'm seeking help. I can never say, because I don't know what that lifelong illness is, beloved. And sometimes, I always say to people, certain things, because they've been sitting so long and they've been brewing and fermenting, therefore they've become part of your DNA somewhat. Even if you go through ubungoma process, you don't reverse what has already occurred. Let me give you an example. So you find yourself in car accidents, and then you end up, being paralyzed or disabled. We can't reverse it, because medically or biologically something did occur with your body or your physical system. And ubungoma will stop a particular pattern, or a particular, like the pattern of you having car accidents will stop after that, but it will not reverse what has already occurred. One of my patterns of an illness was, or I don't want to call it an illness. I don't know how to frame it without making myself responsible for being victimized. But one of the things that I experienced a lot before Gyotwasa, it kind of stopped when I was in my 20s. But nakona, there were other ways in which it occurred, and also in my 30s too, that I wasn't aware of. No, in my 20s it was, yes, it was sexual assault. I got sexually assaulted a lot of times. But that trauma experience, when I understood why that was, I could not reverse that what happened. It didn't heal me from the trauma. Going to Twasa didn't actually heal me. It actually unraveled the depths of the pain of the experiences I had before Twasa. So one of the things is that I started becoming, I gained a lot of weight, because apparently children who get sexually molested do gain weight to make themselves look less attractive. So growing up, I was never big. As I think I started picking up weight late primary, and that's when my grandfather died, and when I remember my first sexual assault. So I would unconsciously eat myself away. I mean, I will eat a lot of food so I can make myself less attractive. It's not a conscious thing. So a lot of people who sometimes are overweight was an unconscious decision to say, I want to make myself look attractive, because we take blame for that which we have not really created somewhat. I hope I'm making sense with what I'm trying to say here. So and by gaining weight, so I have stretch marks, if you could see here. So I couldn't wear sleeveless tops. I couldn't wear a lot of things. And especially I had to, because we wear vests a lot and we had to bath in front of people. So the pain and the depth of the sexual abuse unraveled, and I understood the unraveling of it, because post petro I went for, I went for therapy, I went for life coaching, because petro was very hard. And part of the hardship in petro is because it triggered a lot of wounds. So when it looked like my Kobela was being mean, and sometimes she was being mean, but she triggered deeper pains that she didn't create, if that is making sense. Because sometimes people don't hurt us, we are hurt by what they're triggering in us. And that's why it's very important that post petro one does seek psychological and emotional healing, because on its own that form of training is brutal and military, because it's military training. It's militant, it's forceful, it's aggressive in nature. So when I went through, past post petro, I went through those processes, I understood why I had to experience what I experienced. I understood the pain. And like I said, I can actually say honestly, we petro in 2011, 2019 I had another trigger. And it's only 2019, 2020 where I went through the depth of my sexual assault wounds and how deep they were. And I remember when they surfaced again, I wanted to come and be like, we have perpetrators in our families and stuff. And fortunately the person I was dating at the time said to me, be careful of your intention, because pain can make us be crazy and act out our character. He said, I don't mind you being a teacher, but remember, some of these people who assaulted you are still part of your life, and they still part of, like, he put some sense into me. And I said, healing does not require an announcement. Healing doesn't sometimes require you shaming or naming your perpetrator. And if it does, well, who are we to say otherwise? But I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I went, because I wasn't, at the time, I realized I was angry at some of my perpetrators. I was mad, I was fuming, but I didn't want to acknowledge the anger that I experienced, because sexual assault is painful. Any form of assault is painful. So yeah, I think I answered that question. No, I mean, we all heal differently. Coco, may I please have clarity on using Amagobongo to heighten connection if you have Istunya, please? I don't know what you want me to explain. What's the clarity you're seeking? It's exactly that Amagobongo heightens connection, meaning with the heightened connection of the ancestral spirit. And remember, people always say Istunya. We are all messengers. Istunya is a name that means a messenger of light, a messenger of healing, a messenger that brings well-being. So, and as a messenger, we are all different kinds of messengers, or we get trained differently, because Istunya is an innovated form of African spiritual healing. Because when the Witchcraft Suppression Act was passed in the 1960s, it prohibited us to openly practice as African healers. We needed to innovate. The calling didn't stop from calling. The gift didn't just disappear and be swept under the carpet. We didn't want to get into trouble, so one of the ways in which we healed was through the churches. So through the churches, we found we found a way to continue with the gifts without being persecuted by the South African law at the time. So these are the root of the gifts is ancestral, because somebody who had the gift of healing in the church is no more and is passing that gift unto you. So that's an ancestor. But its manifestation and how they use their gift is different. So I always say to people, don't go and say, Mina, I've got this tunya, nothing with idlozi. It is still idlozi related, because that person who's giving you that gift, who used to wear ispiga, meaning a cape, who used to wear a duke, meaning a head wrap, that person is an ancestor. So the gifts that you are practicing is from an ancestor. It's just might not be about imiti, it might be about water, but it still is the same thing, because muti is a herb. Herb you find in nature. Water is a herb. Herb you find in nature. So we want to look at things from a linear perspective, from what cognitive dissonance has taught us, and that sometimes moves us away from the depth of healing. Yeah, that feels like I just said some big words there. But it moves us away from the depth of healing. If we can understand that from in the spirit world, Healing is healing, just manifested differently. The calling is the calling, just manifested differently. None is superior than the other. The other one can have more a potency in terms of its healing powers or in terms of its forcefulness, and there are reasons behind it, but none is more powerful than the other. It's about honoring and balance. It's about actually a dancing, because I don't think it's a balance, because when we are walking we are not in balance. It's a dancing of left right left right left right. It's a dance, right? It is a dance. So let's understand that. So that's what I'm saying to you. uh, that's what I'm saying to you, Uguti. If you are saying, yeah, your name is funny. I'm sorry for not pronouncing it. If you are, if we are saying that you are, it's a heightening. So it is for heightening. So meaning, why do we need to heighten? I need to heighten because I need to deeply understand the type of gift I have. I need to heighten to understand if indeed my ancestors are gifting me a gift to go initiate, meaning to go to Asa. I need to heighten because I need clarity in who is going to initiate me. That's why you are doing Ikobongo. And I always say liyahluza, because lihluza ini. It also helps you distinguish between, do I need to go train, or am I needing to just acknowledge and honor that I am a child of my ancestors, because they never performed any ritual? Because it's very important, because some people don't need to twasa. You end up twassering because Nombelogo was done. How is it some pavadimu? They never announce you to your ancestors. So especially in certain things, it's about announcing you to your ancestors. So modle ikobongo, and there's an announcement, and there are things that are done ikobongwen. That thing might prevent you from doing things that you're not supposed to be doing. It's an entry level point of understanding and distinguishing, do I have a calling to be a healer or not? So do not be, I say, this is what I say, and I don't speak as an expert. I speak as somebody who's experienced. Because for me, I started ngekobongo before I went to go twasa. And umuntu ongenzeli kobonga kangitwasisanga. And I said to her, because she's been working with me and I still work with her, post my twasa process, she still guides me and advises me about twasisa because she's a kobela. But she said to me, you know what, Dino, your people have to show you where to go. So tata nanga makobongo, wangenzela makobongo, and ngadla makobongo. And even after makobongo, I still didn't dream of my kobela immediately. Actually, I think I dreamt of her, but not so directly. The things that I saw in the dreams were relating to the things that were being done by her. Later on, after I did another ritual, post-Kobongo, which I found the ritual through meditation. So you see, the thing is that as a people, we need to understand that those gets activated through different things. You don't do one thing and expect a floodgate of miracles and answers to emerge. Sometimes you do one thing to move from point 1 to point 2. You do another, it moves through from point 2 to point 5, and you get to point 5 and they say, there's something to be fixed at point 3. Go back. Even post-Petro, there's certain things I still had to do, Zasekaya, that were not done. But never even once do I remember saying my Kobelung Ropile, because I was adamant that my people sent me to her. She gave me all that my people requested from her. Outside of that, it was not her jurisdiction to train me. I healed so I can be better and deeply understand why is it that my people send me to her. She was a brutal trainer. I don't know now, but I say Mina, and she speaks. I did a stream, you should find it, where I spoke to her, and she said she gave me tough love. And I used to have meltdowns because I always felt like she was mistreating me, because she would never accept me sleeping at all. She would literally be sitting and something will say, please go to her. And I would be woken up and I would sit with other people and they would fall asleep during the day and she wouldn't come in. I always had to be working, but I understand it now. I didn't understand it then because I was in it and I was emotionally involved in it. So post-Petro, I sought out healing versus revenge. Post-Petro, I sought out understanding versus blame. You see what I mean? I am where I am because that woman planted seeds of greatness, and at the time she was plowing the ground so this seed can be deeply rooted. I did not see it. And yes, she's no angel. None of us are angels in this because we are humans and we are flawed. But there's so much I learned, even in her own imperfections, that I am trying to do better, not to outshine her, but learn from her. Because some people, our parents sometimes make mistakes so we don't have to fall into the same trap. But are we woke enough? Are we conscious enough to really understand that? Are we aware? Are we present enough? But sometimes we're not because we are caught up in the pool of emotions. You know, emotions are human, but they are fueled by ego. And when we are fueled by ego, we lose perspective. And when we lose perspective, we start to project. And when we are projecting, we lose the ultimate overall spiritual purpose in which we are meant to be doing and serving things from, because we get caught up in self-preservation. We get caught up in doing me. We get caught up so much in the I rather than the collective. And healing is indeed a journey, and as a healer, you are always healing thyself as you heal others. You can never say, I am fully healed. I'm not fully healed. I know a lot, but I know very less still. I still a long way to go. It's still a long way to go for me. Ego is not necessarily our friend. Ego humanizes us. Ego sometimes brings us to the level of understanding that we are not immune to life's problems and we are not immune to life's challenges just because we are spiritually called or we chosen. Being chosen does not make you sit on the highest form of the throne. It's just actually just saying what it, you know, it doesn't make you any other special. You actually get more prone to challenges because you are called. But when we live and operate from ego alone, then it's to our own detriment. Yes, ubungoma can trigger certain, and I'll speak to that. Okay, beloveds, let's go. There's a lot of questions. Q&A is always my favorite because I go deep and we get new insights. You know, is it your favorite as well? You know? Gobongo in Sotho, because somebody just asked. Some of the question I'll respond because they're interrelated. Gobongo in Sesotho ke sethoto. Maybe it's a sethoto ngesixhosa uza ngesixhosa because now I'm speaking Sotho. Ngesixhosa kuthiwa islawu or umlawu. But it's different types. So don't go and say to Farate, I'm looking for Gobongo. There's different kinds of Amagobongo. Gobongo has become a generic term similar to Togoza, thinking everybody's Togoza Koko, but some people Umako, some people is Tamaku, Babankeli said, you know. It's just a generic term we have used to refer to a concussion of Africa. Okay, let me say, what is Gobongo? Gobongo, it is a concussion of African medicinal plants combined together to address a particular element that is closely related to heightened connection between you and your ancestors, so you can get the answers that you are seeking. Yes, some people call it push. I hope I've answered you. So, if ubunyangwa, uyabangwa, sorry. Can you live a normal life without isigo, or do you have to do it? Well, the thing is that, you know, what is normal to me might not be normal to you. For me is that, are you at peace with your life? Are you content? And contentment does not come from external attainment of material accumulation. Contentment is that thing that with or without particular things you still feel at peace. Contentment is not cultivated from achievement, but it's cultivated from an inner sense of knowing thyself. And when we do particular rituals like Lentuzana Imbelego, is to deeply root you into your spiritual roots, so you are not blown by every single thing that comes your way, that you are not easily influenced. How fekule ke moya, how pepole ke moya. You are not just blown by the wind. Everybody says Coco Dino is a witch, you are part of that. Coco Dino Utwel, you are part of that. Coco, like you have no backbone, let me say that. You know what I'm saying? So when you have done particular rituals, it grounds you and roots you. You know thyself that you do not need the world to define you. Yes, it doesn't mean you will fully know thyself, because you go through stages in life where certain life experiences occur that make you question you and your abilities and your compatibilities and your, you know, your strengths. There is life experiences that happen to you that will have you question things. But you won't be blown by the wind. You will not be sent from pillar to post. And that's what it did for me. I had my Gobongo done at 23 years of age. It deeply rooted me. That's when my calling also became more visible after Imbelego Baba Mangenzeleyon. And after Imbelego, because I was Christian at the time, I didn't really even believe in the Imbelego. And the reason I did it is because I miscarried. And I was told, Guti, I miscarried one. I was told there were two things is because of the gift. And the other thing was because my ancestors didn't know who I am. So how are they supposed to bless my offspring or allow for me to be an incubator of a life force, whereas my own life has not yet been announced to my ancestors? So I'm unknown. Yes, they are aware, but I'm unknown. So when my dad performed Imbelego for me, two things happened to me that I never had stable relationships. For one, I always had short-lived. Then immediately after Baba Mangenzele Imbelego, I conceived again. I was like, oh, okay, why? Because I struggled to conceive. Number two, after my dad did Imbelego, when I fell pregnant after the conception, the conversation with the same father of the kids who I conceived, the miscarried babies, you know, came and was on global, and then I started to settle down with umsebenzi. So then I understood, just because I don't believe in things, they did not mean they do not exist. Just because you don't believe in it, it doesn't mean it's not true. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what awoke my eyes to African science, to say this thing, there's magic in it. It somewhat works, because here it worked. I remember very well because it was done in 2004, end of 2004, 2005, I did conceive, and then that same year, Lobola was paid. And I think that's when my life started to stabilize at some level. And I was like, wow. Just ngokutela ngenyongo yasekhaya. So do you understand, some of you fanele nothwala inyongo ephehlweni because awenzelanga imbeleko? So you sitting here demonizing your own cultural practices, but it's your own detriment. I used to demonize amasiko. I used to say these things don't exist. Right? I'm not talking from what I have read. I wouldn't be sitting here with such strong conviction because I read it in a book or I studied it behind a desk. I have lived through it. So I know about it. I'm speaking through my own life experiences. And that's why I can speak unapologetically with conviction about the Dlozi world and ancestral things, because I have lived through it. Okay. No dreams, beloveds. No dreams, beloveds. No dreams, Bantubag, please. I love this question because I've had a lot of people speak about it. Togoza Koko, is it possible for someone to steal your gift? No way. How can somebody, Angisho Bati, you are called, you know, there's a scripture that says, I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. I blessed you and I sanctified you and I made you a prophet to the nation. You were already called in your mother's womb. I was already Dinewo in my mother's womb. How, when am I born, then somebody steals my gift? It's not a thing. It's engraved in your spiritual DNA. It comes from your people. So if it's stolen, it means your people allowed and gave that other person permission for it to be stolen. Let's be honest. Angisho 1, we say the ancestral gift comes from your family. So here I come as your Kobela, stealing that which belongs to your own family lineage. Where do I get the power and the ability to do something like that? It means your people have granted me that power, if that's the case in point. This is what I know for sure, and take note of this very importantly. People do not listen, they misbehave and dishonor their own people. So your ancestors do retract from you. When they retract and you go to a particular person, they build a wall or a barrier between you and your ancestors. They do not steal your gift. They create a barrier. That barrier gets created because you, who has been gifted, moved away from them first. You, as the chosen and the called, did not listen to their directive. You wanted what you wanted. You wanted to do what you wanted to do because it was going to serve your needs. How can I steal something that was given to you in your mother's womb? If this is a gift from your ancestors, if it gets stolen, go back to them and ask, how come? How can somebody who has no connection to your bloodline come and interfere with that which is engraved in that DNA? There's a lot of people who say that. There's a lot of people who say I've stolen their gifts. I don't know how. And these people are the ones that say they stole. This is the thing. Another thing. People say, you stole my gift because I was powerful. If you were that powerful, where did I get the power to overpower your power? I'm sure you are powerful, because it's a lot of people who say, yeah, I was powerful, my Kobela was jealous and she stole my gift. How did she steal your gift if you were that powerful? Because your people would have shown you before even going to that Kobela's house. Your people would have told you before you even set foot. They would have said, no, that's not where we're going. I know for sure, because there were things that my ancestors used to say, do not. And had I not listened to the do nots, I wouldn't be where I am. And when they said, you can do. You are being led by a powerful force which is not seen by the physical eye. How can somebody who's human, flawed and imperfect, and like you, have the power to take something that is that deep? How can somebody steal God? Let's talk about that. Yes, I'm on fire today because I'm liking the questions we are asking, because we do mislead people as healers. We do tell you like, yo, you are so powerful. If you are that powerful, let's be honest. If you are that powerful and that gifted, how does then one have the power to overpower? I'm sure you are the power. Logically, apply common sense. When you are powerful, you are very gifted, you have more power than your Kobela, then your Kobela steals the gift. Where did she get that power? Because you are the powerful one. Should you have not seen it before it occurred? My Kobela used to tell me that it is misbehavior, and I have seen it. People who misbehave and they do not follow what they need to follow, people who do not listen to their ancestors, people who are seeking quick fixes, people who are seeking certain attainments before their time, easily get manipulated.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
No, thank you. It's Siri. So I'm just saying, I needed to clarify that. That's why I'm saying I love this question, because I've seen a lot of people talk about it on social media and write things. Hey, beloveds, Mina, I've always said, not scared of a witch, because they are human like me. And the fact that you're spending so much time investing in destroying me, it means that you have nothing else to do with your life. You are purposeful. You have no purpose. You have nothing. And I'm your everything. That means that you have made me a something. There is something great about me, hence you are so invested in me. That's what I gotta say about things. Sensor, I hear you. Things of the spirit are common sense, but let's go to this thing again. Let's go to this, because sometimes we need to be able to understand. If we say our ancestors are powerful, then how does somebody overpower them? I said, yes, you can be disconnected from the power source of your ancestors. That only happens if you are not listening to them. if you are not honoring them, if you are not following on their path, because so many of us want things our own way. We want to do things quicker. We do not want to walk the journey, but we want to reap the results. We do not want to start from 0. We want to start from 5. You do not, because it's hard labor being on a Dlozi journey. You have to plow the fields before you can plant the seeds. Once you've planted the seeds, you have to water the seeds. Once they start sprouting, you will attract pests. Now you need to prune and get rid of the pests. It is hard work, but we don't want to labor. We really don't want to labor, but we want to be able to enjoy the fruits. No. You want to toss out today, tomorrow you want to have a 500,000 people come following you. Tomorrow and 2 years later, you want to be a well-known Kobela. That's not it. You want to be immune to challenges because you are gifted. You are prone to challenges because you are gifted, because you will always be tested to see if you have learned from that which they have gifted you as lessons. And sometimes things do okay. Challenges do okay. I've experienced a lot of things even as isangoma. Right? Because I could easily sit here as a sangoma. I shared when I did Does Dlozi Choose Your Partner? I said yes. And there was a man that was chosen for me. Well, I've had a couple of people who were chosen for me. And when that man was chosen, I followed ego, right? Self-preservation. What Dineo wanted as a need. And this was posting to us. This was in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. This was in 2015. And I went into a relationship, and you know what Spirit said? Spirit said, yes, we've sent this man, but you are married. But ego said, but because it's Spirit, Dineo, you can still have a relationship with this man. And I went ahead and had a relationship with this man. When I got bewitched, do I go back and say, Dlozi, why did you lasha me? Dlozi, why didn't you show up for me? No. Dlozi said, yes, we've sent this man, but you are married. You have to speak with your husband. I didn't because it was an inconvenience. I didn't because I knew you would have probably said no. So I was dishonest with myself. I was dishonest with my partner. So mengitakathi manje fanele ngithi where was Dlozi because this man was sent by you. I needed to take responsibility. And you know what shifted for me? Because I knew I don't want to be in a relationship with this person. I knew it because I told them, I think 2 months into the relationship, like I want my husband. I do understand. And I went, Ngabuza elders, I went and consulted people who helped me before Petro, and they said, this man is sent by our ancestors. What do you want to do? I said, I want to keep my relationship. They told me what to do. But the first thing I should have done, number 1, I needed to go and tell my husband to say, Stando Sami, there is this man who I have dreamt of, who has said and dreamt of these things that I never knew existed in my family, is the very same man who made me aware I was Karanga. Nitimanje Stando Sami, what do we do? But Dineo at the time was egotistic, fed his selfish needs, and went had a relationship with that man. Hey, that's the honest truth. That's me taking responsibility. Because if I do not take responsibility, it means that 10 years later I'll repeat the mistake. Then I'll blame Dlozi. You need to take responsibility. Even if when I went to my Kobela and there were certain things that happened and didn't happen, I took responsibility about what have you done, Dineo? What is your responsibility? I took responsibility. When I say istrito in a relationship, when it comes into a relationship, it's because, yes, there is strito, and go to the strito. I'm not going to be unpacking strito for a long time here. Go to strito's video on my YouTube channel. I say there is one that comes from family because they don't want to see you settle in a relationship. But there's one that comes because somebody invited somebody without somebody else's consent. So mengshang estrito emshadweni wami is because I invited somebody without my partner's consent. Yes, vulnerability takes courage. Remember, There's certain things I don't talk about until I'm ready to talk about, because I always have to say, what are my intentions? My intentions about sharing about certain aspects of my life stories, because one, I've healed them. I have forgiven myself because I had to forgive myself for my act. Number two, as a healer, I cannot present myself as the ultimate perfection and the it and the God and the Messiah and nah. And stop putting us on pedestals. We are not perfect. Because people will come like, yo, I'm so disappointed that Coco Dino also had an affair. Kanting mina ngubani? Our great parents had affairs. We all had some. Otherwise, I will not be relatable. I will not relate. I will not show empathy to people who come to me who've had affairs and they're trying to fix their broken marriages because they've had affairs. I will be seeing myself as this perfect person to say, Instead, I look at the person and I say, I understand. I look at the person and I say, I do. But I say, what are you accountable for? Because I've had people come into consult, because we offer, marriage counseling for different reasons, premarital counseling, and also guidance of how people can be culturally and spiritually compatible. You know what I'm saying? So I say, I can say to you when you are there because I've had an affair, and when you say, yeah, no, I had an affair because you never showed me affection and we stopped being intimate, I'm like, yes, those can be driving forces that leads you to having an affair. But what do you take responsibility for? Because if you use that as your reason of having an affair, it means you'll repeat it when this thing happens. Because you could have easily went back to say, man, baby, my nazin, the intimacy is not the same. You no longer tell me you love me. You no longer take me out on dates. You no longer send me music. Why can't you be honest and express? An affair, it's an easy way out. You became dishonest, period. Own up to that. Because if and you say, yeah, but I've said sorry and I don't understand what that person doesn't trust me anymore. I'm like, that's the price you pay for being unfaithful. You need to earn the trust again. And it takes a lot to earn somebody's trust after infidelity. So let's be clear and honest, beloved. So I was connecting that story to the thing of Josie being stolen and things. It's the same way when somebody says somebody stole my man. I'm like, what? A whole adult was stolen. Panchang is treated because Lomuntu went and had an affair with that person or an extra relationship with that person. So that's why it's treated, because if you look at the things that are used, those things, there's no way somebody who is just a passerby can have access to. There are intimate things that are required for somebody to create a concussion that's going to distract or destroy a relationship and steal that person. They are not a pot, Bantu. They are just not a pot where you can take from the shelf and run away with it. This is a consenting adult who consented to have an extra relationship with that person. Because it's easy for us to blame the other person and not take responsibility. And it's easy to want to see our partners as these perfect angelic beings that they can never do anything wrong. Then we are delusional. And then 3-5 years later, you'll be coming to my ndumba with the same problem with that same person. We even marry partners knowing very well that they are serial cheaters. So let's be able to be responsible that if you are going back into a particular relationship, what are you going back to? What are you signing up for? Because I said last week, if the two of you are not willing to put in the work, that's what I said in the last, is Lozi choosing a partner. If the two of you are not willing to put in the work to resolve the issues that have made you part ways in a relationship, then that relationship is doomed for failure. Because lifetime relationships doesn't mean they do not have hiccups. Actually, lifetime relationships are built from the ability to overcome the most extremist of challenges in the relationship. No, Shelly, let's not get twisted. It doesn't refer to relationship only. Please go to YouTube. I don't understand tribe members on Instagram who have not subscribed yet to the YouTube channel, because you're missing out on a lot of teachings. Can I pause here and move to other questions? Yes, I'm gonna save this and it will be uploaded. I'll call it Instagram Q&A with Cocodino. So it's gonna be uploaded on YouTube. I'm gonna save this and upload it on YouTube. Oh, before I was Emakosi refers to become a sangoma. Okay, so I grew up as what was our belief systems? Okay, I was raised by my maternal grandparents with the support of my paternal grandmother. And my maternal grandfather was a man who practiced ancestral rituals. But as kids, we were not really involved in particular things and the details of why we do particular things. But I do remember there were points in which Bokhlatwe Kaya. My grandfather is from Limpopo Zanin, Kimolobedu. So I grew up around that, and he died at 12. And when he died at 12, and somewhat towards my age of 12, I wasn't I was still finding myself. I became a born again Christian. So as a Christian, my perceptions, of course, of ubungoma were demonic. This was evil. This was ungodly. And then when I started to question certain things in church, like I remember my biggest question came from when I was asked to pray before Gupatwa at my grandfather's graveside, and I said no, that I cannot call on the dead. And it was like a voice came into my head, said, but you call on God of Abraham, who is dead, and how do you fail to honor this man who raised you? Because I was raised by my grandfather. Like, this man raised you, and you are who you are because of him. I mean, my kindness, my loving nature is from my grandfather, because he taught me a lot about Ubuntu. And that really set unwell with me. Then I went on a journey and a quest of really deeply understanding who were we before Christianity, and how did we view and perceive God before Christianity. But also asking, how come God never really answered my prayers? Because I was a devoted Christian, but I struggled to attain particular things in my life, even when I prayed hard and I fasted hard. Then I went on that quest of really asking and being curious. Then that's when I came across Black consciousness, and Black consciousness opened me up to African spirituality somewhat. And when I went into Bungoma, I wasn't necessarily 100% a believer in African spiritual healing, but through my training, a lot of things happened and unfolded that shifted my perceptions. But one of the major turning points for me was before Ubungoma, when I had to do Imbelego and my life shifted drastically. That's what helped me. I hope that really I have answered your questions. I think tonight feels like I'm on some intense responses. Let's go to more questions. Okay, my grandmother says Amadlozi are against having tattoo. Is that true? No. We need to also understand that African culture. I'm itchy. I don't know why. I think, I'm taking these thingings, this medication, and it's not. That's why I don't like taking. I only take it if it's necessary. Honestly, because I don't believe that Western medicine is irrelevant. I do believe it's got its place in society, but I don't like taking it because I get these reactions from it. But I had to take this one because it was important and necessary. Back to the question. We need to understand that African culture and tradition is also infused in a lot of religion. Because when we got colonized and religion was offered our way, some people still practice their cultural practices but infused religion into it. There's no way we can say tattoos are ancestors are against tattoos. No. I'm very aware and conscious of the types of tattoos I put on my body because they have meaning, and for me they mostly are about my rites of passages. Because for example, in Bedi culture and in Bulobedi, when we come back from initiation school, when we go Rechwakomen, they do tattoo. There's a marking, and those who know it. When I look at you, I'll know Gomeng. I would identify this woman Gomeng, and it would be tattoo. Even in East Africa, there would be certain cultural practices and rituals. Even when kings were being ordained, they would mark their body with a sign or a symbol that symbolizes they are transitioning from being an ordinary person to becoming a revered king, So tattoos were rites of passages. I'm going to ask you, Willie, my first Instagram stream, and I think this was in 2019. Yes. 2019. My first Instagram was at a tattoo parlor when I started to think maybe I should do these Instagram teachings, I spoke about African spirituality and tattoos. I think it's also on my Instagram page. So if you can kindly look that up, I go into details about that and what that is about. So yeah. I'm going through because people are asking me about dreams. Okay. Can you please elaborate about spiritual hair? Okay. I don't know what you mean by spiritual hair and what you see as not spiritual hair, right? Because we can make a lot of assumptions. One of the things that I know that in Jamaica, when dreadlocks were started, was a sign of rebellion. So when the system of oppression, they locked their hair as a sign of rebellion. But we also know that in Rastafarianism, dreadlocks are quite prominent, but they were a sign of rebellion. But what I know is when they say your hair is your crown. So when we look at the 7 energy centers of the body, this is your crown chakra. This is your awakeness, your state of awareness, right? So hair plays a significant role that it protects your state of awareness, your state of awareness, meaning when you are woke, meaning when you are all seeing, all hearing, all feeling. When all your 7 chakras are aligned, then this gets activated. So the crown is protected by your hair. And the thing is that what you put and who touches this space needs to also be protected, because everything to us is energy transference. So I don't just get my hair done by anybody else. Some people touch my hair and I had to cut it off, because meaning that it doesn't make them bad people, but I don't know where they've been, what they've done, and what's the energy transference that they're living with me. So my head space is very sensitive. I say to spiritually gifted people, always make sure you choose a particular person. Actually, from everything, even where I get my nails done, who does particular things to me, I'm very picky about that, because I'm energy sensitive. I'm energy sensitive because I'm an empath. So I absorb other people's energies. So it doesn't make the other person bad or evil. It just means that you're a sponge, because for example, somebody might have lost their husband and they did not perform the right kinds of rituals, or they lost their wife. Then they come and touch your hair. So meaning the energy of loss and death surrounds them. So it gets transferred to you because you're an empath. Right? And for me, I don't use, I haven't used relaxer since 1999. That's the last time I relaxed my hair. Right? I don't use it because it's just full of chemicals. It's just like, I keep my hair has been natural. Yes, I've used dye. It's also full of chemicals, but we've dyed our hair before. We used to use it to money, red ochre that we see. So just understand with hair it's like that, because sometimes I would wake up and want to cut off my hair because one of the warriors I work with doesn't have hair, and it's because then I don't have anybody having to touch my hair. Because also the symbolism of shaving your hair off is new beginnings, rebirth. That's why when there's a death in the family, we would cut off our hair, because we are in acknowledgement and in honor that our lives have changed and shifted. So it's a symbolism. Certain things are symbolisms, and we take symbolisms, like when somebody wearing beads, we think the beads are the gift itself. The beads are not the gift itself. They're an expression of the gift. They're not the gift. The gift is within you. They're a symbol. And yes, symbol has significance, because by symbolizing, it's a way, an act of honoring. But purity begins from within, you know what I mean? Because people can wear 100 sets of beads, but they didn't even twasa. There's a lot of people who didn't twasa and call themselves all sorts of things. Because also be very careful of who you listen to. Some of us are teachers, but we're teaching from things that we have no idea from. We've never even walked that journey. We've never even crossed that bridge, but we've heard about the bridge from other people narrating the stories of their own experiences, and we make our own conclusions. Then we therefore become teachers on Instagram and on YouTube. And when you're listening, you're like, but do you really know what you're talking about? Because we can easily get misled. I mean, the gift of social media over the past decade is that it has given us a platform to teach, because we have not really had this platform and these spaces to educate and awaken our people around African spirituality. But like any other booming field, you have opportunists and pests, and that's normal. You'll have contradicting forces. That's the laws of nature. Balance itself out like that. There's winter, summer, so we don't even want to go hate on the haters. We bless them because they exist, because they make sure that we also are kept on track. They make sure that the knowers of this world are focused on teaching and bringing light. They focus. You invested in enlightenment. You're not invested in other things, because everything is a gift. In the spirit world, there's no wrong or right. Things are what they are. Because even ubutagati balances the energies sometimes. Because if everything is always going beautiful, perfect, whole and complete all the time, you're not growing. Challenges are signs that there's growth. Challenges are signs that we are transitioning. Challenges are signs that we're moving from one point to the other. But we've been conditioned and programmed to just want progression, but you want to progress, but you don't want to be challenged. A child, when they're teething, they're challenged because they're moving from liquids to solids. I don't even know what time did I start, because I think my hour is up. But let's see. Can one initiate without a parent's consent, also an age above 18? You'll have to go and speak to the initiation school, because different schools operate from different principles and laws, and the thing is that, I can answer this question in two folds, right? I can ask like above 18, but what is above 18? Because in our culture, 21 is the coming of age of entering, moving away from from teenagehood into adulthood. And I love for me 21, because you could see how African science has always been deeply rooted in understanding spirituality, because 21 is a 3. 3 is a whole number. It's a completion number. It's beginning, middle, ending, 1, 2, 3, right? That's why we phaahla at 3. That's why we do certain things around 3 o'clock, because it's sacred time. Some people call it God's time. So when you turn 21, you have completed your cycle of childhood and you're entering into adulthood. So at 21, we then actually announce you as an adult in our culture, because you have completed that cycle. That's why in certain cultural practices, like in isiZulu, wenzela umemulo, meaning actually uhlanjulula, because you would be then engraved in certain things, and one of it would be umhlehlo. You are being shown as now you are no longer a child, but you are entering adulthood, right? Ungena manje esigabeni sokuba umuntu omdala. Ngoba now we can say to you, you can now go dala. Ngoba umdala says you can dala, meaning you can parent. You are old enough, and it's 3. Can you see how powerful that is? 21 is a 3. 18 for me, it's number 9. Number 9 means transition and change. So at 18, you are transitioning. You are not yet into completion and entering adulthood. You are transitioning from what? From childhood into adulthood. You are still going through a transitioning phase. But when you get into 21, you have completed your transitioning phase of childhood, entering into adulthood. Because the reason we did particular, I mean, there's many things that we have lost. There's also many that I don't know of, isiZuluini, esiSothuini. There's many that we have lost, but those things helped us transition. It was not only about slaughtering cows and goats and sheep. It was also sitting down with people who were responsible to groom us, to teach us, to enlighten us about entering adulthood, about the responsibilities of being an adult, about now you are no longer a child, ungene esigabeni sokuba so na so, prepare yourself for so and so. You know, when people think ukuthi initiation schools were about circumcision only, no, but we have made them to be about that, because also as we evolved and infused other things, we have lost the essences of particular things. You know, age 30, 0 is a number that magnifies any other number that's sitting next to it. So when you are 30, it means that you are being magnified at the point of completion. For example, when I finished twasaring, I was 30. I completed my twasa process at the age of 30. I went in at 29. My 30th birthday, I was a pehlueni. So meaning that my point of completion of a particular cycle of my life was even more magnified because of the number 0 next to it. It looks like, beloveds, we need to do more of these Q&As, because some of the things that we are learning from these Q&As are powerful. You know, if I must say that myself. You know, one tribe rule, beloveds and tribe members. Please note that after here, please do not DM me your dreams, your questions, none of those things. I don't do it. This is when I come and I give of my time. You see, we've had 400 plus tribe members coming in, meaning a lot of people have learned. And I'm going to save today's stream. I'm going to upload it. Actually, I'll upload it now on YouTube. How is that? So if you've missed it from the beginning, it's going to be on YouTube. Then you can share it with people. You can do that. Remember, when you are listening and you want to be part of the lunch, that we're going to be announcing very soon, make sure you can note down some, what we call some profound words that I've said as quotes, and you tag me, and who knows, you might be part of the 10 lucky people who are going to have an exclusive lunch with me. But I think that's it for today. Our hour is done. I think I did more than an hour. It's been exciting. I'll do another Q&A tomorrow. Make sure you've got your notifications on. And no dreams, please. We will do dreams on Wednesday. So just ask generic questions around African spirituality. Mwah. Love and light, beloveds. Oh, how can we get in touch with you? DM me, I'll send you the practice number. You can send me DMs for those who are needing the practice number. But on my timeline on Instagram, when you go on my, is it the timeline? It's called the timeline. Yes, it will say contact. You will see that there's a WhatsApp number there. Awesome.